who or what created the Xenomorphs, which are undoubtedly the most famous and well-known aliens from movies? Well, we know that H.R. Giger designed them for the first film that was directed by Ridley Scott, but if we're talking about fiction and lore, what is their real origin story? We are one of the biggest fans of these creatures, and as far as we know, there are 6 different Genesis stories spread across different continuities. So let's check them out. The first one, Evolution on Xenomorph Prime. So this is the lore behind the original series of movies and the comics. According to a prevalent theory in the Alien Expanded Universe, Xenomorphs are believed to have originated on a distant planet called Xenomorph Prime. The theory suggests that these creatures evolved over a long period of time, adapting to the harsh conditions of their planet. Through this process, they developed the distinctive biomechanical features, which includes their hardened exoskeletons, their tubes, and their long bulbous head. These Xenomorphs, with their unique and ferocious life cycle, eventually became the apex predators on their homeworld by gradually eliminating every other species. However, as time waned on, there arose different Xenomorph hives across the planet, and there would frequently be battles and wars for dominance, as depicted in Alien's genocide. But despite this endless warfare, somehow a Queen Mother would eventually take control of the entire species, and this shows that the Xenomorphs are a prime example of hyper-evolution. The second one, they were bred by the ancient Draki aliens. This is based on the lore behind the Dark Horse AVP Expanded Universe and comics. So little is known about them, the Draki aliens, which are enigmatic to say the least. Nothing is known about them from any planet or any structure which they might have created or built. The only thing we know about them is that they were a highly advanced spacefaring civilization in the distant past. According to the Yautja, or better known as the Predators, the Draki left the Milky Way eons ago, relocating to another galaxy. The Yautja, despite their warlike nature, actually hate and fear them, and these ancient beings, considering them beyond malevolent, beyond understanding. So at some point of time in the distant past, these Draki aliens were thought to have encountered the Xenomorph XX121 species on Xenomorph Prime, and then took interest in the life form, actively engaging in breeding and experimenting on this species, to a point where the deadly biomechanical monsters gradually became the end product, which scared them to a point that they have to leave the galaxy. Number 3. They were created by the engineers. In the Prometheus film, the mysterious engineers, also earlier in the Alien franchise which were known as space jockeys, sparked speculation about their connection to the Xenomorphs and their genesis. According to theories supported by Ridley Scott himself, the engineers may have engineered the Xenomorphs as a bioweapon or a genetic experiment which went haywire and caused the deaths of all of them, as seen in glimpses of the derelict ship's recordings. It is suggested that these ancient alien species intended the Xenomorphs for a specific role or a purpose, but lost control, resulting in the nightmarish consequences seen in the films. These theories are supported by the fact that the engineered ship carried the black goo, meant to be unleashed on unsuspecting worlds, or more specifically on Earth, and as was seen when David tested the pathogen onto Holloway, which then was passed on to Elizabeth Shaw and then to the engineer, giving rise to a Deacon, which was a form of a Xenomorph. Also, the presence of a Xenomorph's mural inside the engineer's ship implies their knowledge of their creation, and hence their involvement in planning or creating the creature. Number 4. They were experimented or created by David. In the sequel to Prometheus, which is Alien Covenant, there was a refined creation myth for the Xenomorphs, at least the ones that were familiar to us, that looked like the original aliens from the first film. In both the Prometheus and the Alien Covenant movies, David the android is shown to be conducting experiments with the genetic material from the black goo on various species, especially in the second movie. Ridley Scott had recently suggested a theory where David, motivated by a desire to create the perfect organism, to be like Weyland, his creator, plays a significant role in the origin of the Xenomorphs, as in trying to create his own legacy. However, according to Alien Covenant the novelization, an alternative explanation is proposed, and that is David might have just recreated the factors needed to bring about the Xenomorph, and this was based on the original engineer plans that he discovered on the planet. The fifth origin story, they were created by a Xenomorph goddess. So this is actually the newest origin story or a theory from the Marvel continuity of the Alien franchise. Marvel's new Alien series explores the potential galactic purpose for the Xenomorphs, as they were depicted as ruthless, clever, and devoid of sympathy or emotions, seeking humans or seeing them as just mere tools to propagate their species. According to the storyline, when organic species become ambitious enough to venture into space, The Xenomorphs act as a galactic security system, eliminating them as a form of Prometheus' cleansing fire. And behind all of their species is a dreaded woman in the dark, portrayed as some sort of a human Xenomorph hybrid, a goddess amongst their species, which might have been the one who created these deadly cosmic horror alien monsters. And number 6, the last origin story, they were bred by the Predators. So this is a continuation of the Draki lore. Just as the engineers were the first ones to create the Xenomorphs, and David the android who would then perfect upon that blueprint, in the Prometheus origin story, so is this the same for the origin tale of the Xenomorphs regarding to the Draki lore. The Predators, or also known as the Yautja, might have discovered the Xenomorphs at some point of time during their space travels in their rituals of coming of age, whereby young bloods would hunt and kill deadly alien creatures in order to be granted the honor of joining the clan as adults. So these Predators might have taken interest in the Xenomorphs for their supremely deadly abilities and bred them across countless worlds, continuing the legacy of the Draki aliens, the same aliens which they hate so dearly. So in short, the Xenomorphs were created by different entities in different continuities. It is by the Predators in the AVP franchise, by either David or the engineers in the newer Prometheus movies, by the Draki aliens in the AVP comics, or by a goddess in Marvel, or they might just have evolved by themselves as in the original storyline, and they would be discovered by the other advanced species and maybe unknowingly or unintentionally, or maybe intentionally as well, spread across countless worlds across the galaxy. Now, if you like this video, then watch this other one as well, and do check out our channel for other monster content. We might just have topics that you haven't seen or heard before. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, fam.